Oak Special Fund offered a 29.38% net returns on investment in 2024. Meaning, if you invested like 1 million Kenya shillings at the beginning of the year, your account would have had 1,293,800 Kenya shillings at the end of the year 2024. That's like 21,700 a month for the whole year of 2024. Interesting, right? And how money market funds are taking us with the declining rates every day, I think it's time we start thinking of diversifying our portfolio further and take advantage of other investment opportunities. So if exploring investment opportunities is something you're interested in, keep watching this video and also subscribe to my YouTube channel for more investment opportunities, reviews, and also tips. So let's break this down. We start with what is Oak Special Fund, and we are going to understand this by understanding what a special fund is. And I'm going to explain this from a place of known, that is money market funds, because I know most of us are familiar with money market funds, and then we can move from there to special funds, okay? So money market funds, they have a provision by the CMA that they can only invest in short-term instruments such as treasury bills and short-term commercial papers. And for those who do not know, government from time to time borrow from its citizens to do projects, and they pay back the citizens, all the public, with interest. And they do this through financial instruments called treasury bills and treasury bonds, okay? Also, companies are also allowed to borrow money from the public, and they also pay them back with interest, and they do this through what you call commercial papers. So ideally, money market funds are supposed to invest in treasury bills and treasury bonds and also commercial papers, all right? I'm going slowly so that we can understand the nature of this fund, all right? Now, for special funds, the CMA allows the fund managers to invest in other things such as shares, precious metals such as gold, commodities such as oil, ETFs, and other things that the fund manager believes it's going to generate more income on or good returns to their investors. And by doing this, they are able to give the investors great returns and diversify to reduce or mitigate risk associated with investing maybe a single instrument, like a single share for a single company, or a single commodity, or even investing in Forex, all right? So they are able to buy shares from different companies, and these companies can be local companies or global companies, or invest in commodities or even currencies to just provide amazing returns to the investors. So for those who are interested in investing in shares and you don't want to go through the whole hassle of identifying which share or which company to invest in, or you want to be in Forex but you don't know where to start, you don't know how to trade, these are funds that you can check out. And of course, it's at a fee, which is usually deducted or charged in what you earn. So most of the time, they'll make sure that they are giving you good returns so that they can get what they are supposed to get from those returns, okay? And investing this way is actually even better because it's less riskier than investing in a single share or a single company, yes, or investing in a single commodity, or investing in, futures, options, and all those things. So investing in such a fund, because they have diversified the fund, it makes it less riskier than investing in that particular underlying asset alone, a single underlying asset, okay? Now, Oak Special Fund is such a fund, and from this definition, you should have picked a few things that are very important. Number one, who owns such a fund is very important because they should be able to pick the best and know what they are doing to be able to give the promised returns. Number two, where they invest the fund is also very important because it determines whether they will make profits or not. Number three, how they diversify the investment is very important because it determines how risky the investment is, and that is where you know whether you're going to lose your money or you're going to make profit. And of course, this goes without saying, this investment is riskier than a money market fund account, but the returns are also higher than those of a money market funds account. And we will discuss the level of risk of this particular fund after looking at who owns the fund and also the fund structure, okay? That being said, let's look at who owns this fund. Remember, this is what determines whether you're going to trust this fund or not, yes? So this fund is owned by Faida Investment Bank, and I know most of us are familiar with commercial banks, but not so much with investment banks. And to make it very simple for you, investment banks help clients, which can be corporations, they can be governments or general institutions, to raise funds, and which can be through shares or even venture capital. And they also provide strategic advice to institutions like maybe facilitation of mergers, listing companies to stock exchanges, and managing funds for institutions. So basically, the investment banks facilitate large financial transactions for these organizations, okay? As opposed to commercial banks whose role is to provide deposit and lending services, all right? And I think it's very good to note that some commercial banks, they have an investment arm within them. Like I know KCB has an investment bank, and if you want to buy shares with KCB as a broker, the KCB investment bank is who you're going to deal with. And I remember one time I went to a branch of KCB. I wanted to know more about shares. I wanted to start investing in shares. And the person I found there was not well informed about shares. And I asked them questions they could not answer. And after that, I decided to go to their headquarters. When I went to the headquarters, of course, I also went to the commercial bank, the bank itself. And the lady I spoke to didn't also know much about shares. They didn't know they didn't have answers to what I was asking. And they referred me to a person who was in the investment bank, which is in a different floor from the normal bank that we know. So from this, you can tell that these are two different things. The investment bank is different from the commercial bank, although sometimes a commercial bank can have an investment bank. And I have also experienced this from people talking to me. I've talked to several people, and I have also seen this from people in the social media, those people who follow me, and they come to my DM, they tell me that I went to a certain bank. I was asking them about a money market fund, but they told me that that particular bank doesn't have a money market fund. And in the real sense, we know that they have a money market fund, and we know people who have already accounts with that money market fund. I think in such a scenario, what you want to do is to just tell the person that you're speaking to refer you to someone else, so that you can discuss about investment opportunities, because it's possible they don't know about that part of investment, okay? We digress, but I think this is good information for you to have, yes? And can now go back to Faida Investment Bank. I want us to do a little background on Faida Investment Bank to just understand their experience in such things, basically a review of their track record, okay? So Faida was licensed in 1995 by the Capital Market Authority to operate as a stock and securities broker. And in December 2007, it converted into a full-fledged investment bank, and that is like 30 years in the industry. They have very notable achievements in these 30 years, and they have done massive work as the investment bankers. And here is a list of some notable works that they have done that you may recognize. So maybe go through the list and see what they have achieved so far. Something else very notable is the fact that Faida Investment Bank is a leading broker in the Rwanda Stock Exchange. And I wanted you to know this so that you can understand that these people know what they are doing, and they have experience on the fund or experience dealing with shares and such things, okay? You can go to more details on this if you're interested to know more. Now that we have established that the company is licensed, we look at if the fund is licensed, because it's possible to have a licensed organization and unlicensed fund. But before we go to that, let's look at the founder of Faida Investment Bank. So the founder and the chairman of Faida Investment Bank is Bob Karina, and he is the managing director of Faida Securities Rwanda. He is the chairman of Rwanda Stock Exchange and the immediate former vice chairman at the Nairobi Securities Exchange. He is also a chairman of Norwich Union Properties Limited and a former director of Kenya Industrial Estate, and as well served as a director in Kenya Private Sector Alliance, that is KEPSA. And you can see his other qualification here. And also let me just list a few people notable people that also work in Faida Investment Bank. Now that we know the people behind this particular fund, let us look at if the fund is licensed by CMA. And from this, you can see that CMA has listed the fund as a collective investment scheme. You know what this means? It means that they have, or they should follow the rules and regulations by the CMA on collective investment schemes, which indicates how they should diversify the fund and the fact that they should have a custodian and a trustee. So let's get into that. So from this statement, you can see that this fund was founded in February 2024, meaning it's a very new entrant into the market. And when it comes to such investments, what we rely on is the track record of the company itself, because you don't have so much data on the fund itself. So when investing, you can go slow as you assess the fund and gain trust of the fund. But I want to believe, based on the experience of the organization, the fund will do well over time. But it's always good to start small and grow as time goes by. Based on this, the minimum you can invest in this particular fund is 500,000 Kenya shillings. And after you do the first deposit, you can do top-ups of 50,000 Kenya shillings. And you're not charged anything to withdraw or to join this particular fund. And when you invest, your funds are locked in for 6 months, after which you can withdraw partially or everything from your account. They have, as you can see also, they have a management fee of 6% per annum, but the rates I mentioned earlier is the net of management fee, meaning they have already deducted the management fee, and the 29.38% is what the investors get, okay? Or it's what the investors got. Next, we are going to look at this asset under management, and to show you how much this fund is growing. The fund under management as at December 2024 was 927 million Kenya shillings, and 2 weeks later, that is mid of January 2025, the fund surpassed the 1 billion mark, meaning that a lot of people are going into or taking advantage of this fund. And to be honest, this makes me so happy, because it means that more people are embracing investments, and I hope more will continue moving into this direction. Even if it's not this particular fund, my wish is we continue learning about these investment opportunities and take advantage of them, and also educate those who are close to us. And I wish investments are something that we are taught at an early age, maybe in high school or in campus, so that we start early, as soon as maybe we get our first jobs. And it's not a must that we start with the high, the risky investments. Just knowing that there are low risk investments out there for those who are starting their journey in investment. I think that's something that would do very well for most of us, so that we stop seeing people going into debt, people having very good jobs, and later on in life they start going into depression because they no longer have that money, or they wasted the money into other things, and they didn't take the opportunity or the chance to invest the money so that it can take care of them when they are in need. Because it's possible to lose your job. It's possible to be in a place where you can no longer work anymore. And we always say that we are deceased away from poverty. So there are some things that may happen to our lives that will make us not be able to work anymore. And I want to believe that if we have the education and knowledge of how to invest, when we are making money, we'll be able to invest or set aside some money. And what happens in such situations when you don't have an income, you are unable to sustain the life that you're living when you had that particular income. And if you didn't have an investment, if you didn't have savings somewhere, a sinking fund, an emergency fund, you find yourself that you're going to depression, you're losing your peace, and you're doing all these things that you're not supposed to be doing just because you lost your job, or you are unable to work anymore. Yes, and they're saying that we are deceased away from poverty, and that hits so hard. And then at that time, everything else starts escalating. When you get depressed, you need more money, you need you need drugs, you need support, you need all these things, and you don't have them at that particular time. So I think it's good that we share the knowledge and we share this information about savings and investment so that we don't find ourselves getting into such situations. Remember the reason why I started even going deeper and researching about investment opportunities like Oak Special Fund is when I got an airdrop back in 2021, a crypto airdrop of more than 1 million Kenya shillings. And I remember at that time I told myself, because I knew cryptocurrency is a very good investment, and this is the reason why I even had this money. I could just leave the investment there, the money there in as an investment in cryptocurrency, and the cryptocurrency will continue growing. Later on, I lost more than half of the investment that I made in cryptocurrency, and I lost this because I didn't know that there were other opportunities that I could invest money in, and the only other investment opportunity I knew at that particular time was money market funds. And of course, I transferred some of the money to a money market fund, but the rest that I left in cryptocurrency, I almost lost everything. And years later, looking back, I think I could have done this differently. I could have explored other investment opportunities to just diversify my investment portfolio and not to have so much in a single investment opportunity. And that is why I encourage people to just diversify investment. Make sure that you have a little here, a little there, a little there. And that way, even if you have money in a certain investment opportunity, you'll be able to wait longer for it to get the results that you need, or to be able to earn enough interest for you to decide, when I'm leaving this investment opportunity, I have already gained rather than I have lost money in these investment opportunities. So in spirit of that, please share this with friends, share this with your family members. Let's learn about investment opportunities. I digress again, but I think it's also good information for you to have there, and I don't want to talk much because sometimes I can talk. Next, we're going to look at the fund structure and where they invest the investors' money so that they can be able to give such great returns and protect the investors' money. And after this, we are going to break down the returns of each month in 2024 so that we understand if this fund is a long-term investment or a short-term investment. And the last thing that we are going to cover is who should invest and who shouldn't invest in this particular fund. So from this, you can see the fund manager is Faida Investment Bank, and as required by CMA, they have the custodians and a trustee. And remember, the role of a custodian is to hold the investor's money. So every time you make an investment to this particular fund or to a fund that has a custodian, money goes to the custodians. And then the fund manager directs the custodians on where to put the money for the investors. For example, if a fund manager wants to, let's say, invest in Safaricom shares or they want Safaricom shares to be in their portfolio, they will instruct the custodian to move, let's say, 1 billion to Safaricom shares. And in this case, the custodians for this Oak Special Fund is KCB, and their trustee is Cooperative Bank of Kenya. And for those who do not know, the trustees plays an important role in making sure that the fund managers are conducting business as required as per the CMA, because for such a fund, which is a collective investment scheme, they have to follow certain regulations on how they diversify their investment. This ensures that the investment is safe. Okay, next we are going to look at where investors' money is invested to get such good returns. And from this statement, you can see that they invest both globally and locally. And from this, the global investment that they have made, they have invested in currency trading, precious metals such as gold and other metals, commodities, those are like things like oil, US oil and things like that, international equities, exchange traded funds, sovereign bonds and derivatives. And then locally, they have invested in government securities, those are treasury bills and bonds. And then they have cash and cash equivalents. They also invest in NSC derivatives, NSC equities, and also commercial papers. As we mentioned earlier, commercial papers are basically a way for corporations or companies to borrow from the public. All right. Unfortunately, this fund fact sheet does not show how much goes to what. We just know they have diversified to these assets, but we don't know the percentages. However, they have included something very interesting in the fact sheet, and this is what each asset contributed to the overall profit. And here you can see the derivatives and over-the-counter trades contributed 28% of the total profit made, and the negative 7% means they made a loss with some of the instruments, and I understand that they were trying a new investment at this point, which led to a negative value. But ideally, the returns were a positive value, and they got great returns for the investors. Now, before we look at how to start investing, let's break down the returns per month. And according to this statement, these are the returns they made each month for the year 2024. And maybe to help you understand some of these terms, the absolute returns shows the immediate gain or loss for each month. Meaning, if you invested, for example, 100,000 Kenya shillings in March, your investment would have increased by 15.03%, meaning if you had invested your 100K, by the end of March, your interest would be 15,030 Kenya shillings. This returns shows what the returns would be if that monthly return was compounded over a whole year. And that's why you can see the difference between the absolute returns and the annualized returns, and now the real returns that you got after a whole year. And to help you understand what to expect from this particular fund, here are some projections, and I got this, or this is also available in the fact fund sheet. And remember, the past performance does not guarantee future performance of the fund. However, the target for this fund, although it's not guaranteed, is 20% returns on your investments. Also remember, the underlying assets for this fund are risky. Most of them are risky, that are actually riskier than money market funds. So this is a moderate risk investment, and is for people with a little higher risk appetite than those who would prefer money market funds account. So make sure that you don't invest more than you can afford to lose in this particular fund, because they do not guarantee capital preservation. So if you are the kind of person who are looking for capital preservation, then this is not the fund for you. You should go for maybe money market funds or other investment, but this one, they do not guarantee capital preservation. The rates on this fund, if you have noted, is also high. The management fee for this particular fund is also high, but it can't be the same, considering that people who are required to analyze the investment opportunities and to get you good deals require a lot of expertise to do this. Furthermore, for them to get the 6% means that they have to get you great returns for them to get exactly that 6% on the investment. So to invest in this particular fund, all you need to do is just to give them a call or write an email to them, and they will get back to you with more details on how to invest in this particular fund. That being said, if you're interested in such funds, you will also like to see this other fund that offers 45% returns on your investment. Thank you so much for watching. Happy investing.